afternoon, everyone. Hi there. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My name's Chris, and this is Maya. Say hello, Maya.
Hello.
And we're going to be taking you through the second beginner session in our Redgate's Coding Club beginners course. So this session is about a project called Lost in Space. Now, I've also got a couple more folks online helping me here. So we have Molly, who we can't see yet, but Molly's helping answering questions. So if you use the chat window, hey Molly! Molly's in a cave having a drink, and she's going to be answering questions if you have them. You've got in the Zoom window that you have, that you're all looking at us through, you've got a chat function, and in there you can ask questions to Molly and Becky. So Becky's online as well as that. Hello, Becky.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Excited for today?
Yep, it's going to be good. We're looking forward to it. Can you hear me okay? Can you see the shared screen?
Yeah, all looks good this end.
Good. I think we've got people raising hands, so maybe there's some questions going on. So thanks, guys. Do let me know if there's any themes of questions or things that we should handle from this end. So thanks, guys. Okay, so hopefully you've seen that we're going to be using Scratch today, and we're going to be following a project, which the link is at the bottom, and it should have been a link in the invite for this session. Otherwise, I think Molly and Becky can show you the link on the chat window if you need that as well, if you're struggling to find what we're talking about. Okay, so let's see if this can move forward. So to start with, we want to just say thank you to Code Club. We're working with Code Club to deliver these online coding courses. Really great organisation. If you want to find out more projects, or you find a local club for Code Club, then go to the website codeclub.org, and we're really happy to be working with those folks to bring you these today. So today's project is really exciting because because we like coding, but we also really like
Space.
We really like space too. So this project is called Lost in Space.
You already told them that.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, I might repeat myself. Thank you, Maya. Let me know when I make a mistake. So Lost in Space is the project, and what we're going to be doing is helping this little chap who is floating on the left of your screen.
Yeah, and he's a monkey.
He's a monkey and he's lost in space. So we're going to be working on a project to animate this chap and some other objects in Scratch. If you came along to our previous session was led by Ali and his son Dougie. You will also be aware that we'll be using Scratch, and hopefully you've all used that before if you weren't in that session. And we are going to be following, especially in this session, the guidance on that the Code Club give us on how to run this Lost in Space project. So feedback from the last session we ran 2 weeks ago was that sometimes we went too fast for people, and sometimes we went too slow, and occasionally we were just spot on and got it perfect. We're going to have to aim for the middle, so we're going to go at a reasonable pace, but we are going to follow this tutorial that hopefully you can see. So if we go too slow and you're getting a bit bored and you want to crack on, you can just look into the tutorial and move ahead if you'd like to, and we'll catch up with you. Or if we're going slowly too fast and you've missed something, then do look back into the tutorial, ask a question on the chat, but do go into the tutorial, follow along on the website, and you'll be able to work out exactly what it is that you need to do, because that guidance is really, really good. And we're just working through that this end to show you what to do. What you might want to do as you're going through it, if you've on one screen, you might want to use, you might want to sort of put the tutorial on the right of your screen. I hope you can see that. I think you can. And put Scratch on the other side. So if you've not done much of this before, you might want to have both Scratch and the tutorial so you can see them both on the same screen at the same time. That work? Becky and Molly, could you see both of those? Yeah. So you might want to split the screen and put both pictures up there so you can work through Scratch and follow the tutorial. Or you might want me and Maya up there showing you in the video window what we're doing as well. So that's up to you. But that's a way you could follow, might make it easier. I've got two screens I'm going to show off and separate you there. Okay, so we're going to stop this. We're going to jump in now into Scratch.
Scratch.
Scratch. Right, Scratch is there. Scratch big. So hopefully you can all see Scratch. So we want to start a new project in Scratch. We just go into the website and we hit the Create button. And that's going to open us a new project on Scratch. There we are.
Yeah.
So you can all do that. Probably already have. What we're aiming for with the Lost in Space project is to create this little animation. If you, I can't make that big, so you have to look at it that size. So this is what we're going to build together. Look at that. Pretty cool. So, first thing we want to do on the screen is get rid of Scratch. Do you remember how to get rid of Scratch? Because we're not going to be using Scratch the cat on this project.
So we just press the little X at the top.
That one?
Yeah.
Little bin. Okay, and Scratch is gone. Okay, so now we need to add our first objects, our first sprites, that we call them in Scratch, that we're going to code on, that we're going to give instructions to through our code. So we did this last time in the band project, so I'm going to let you guys have a go yourselves. So if you can remember how to do it, I'm going to need to add two sprites. You're going to need to add a sprite which is a rocket, and you're going to have to add a sprite which is the planet Earth, and you're going to put them in these corners of your stage in the top right of your view. And then, if you've managed to do that, you can go ahead and add a backdrop, which is space. Now, if you weren't along last time and you don't remember how to do that, that's fine. Myra and I are going to do it now with you. But if you know how to do that, crack on, add those two sprites and add the backdrop. Okay, so while you folks are running ahead to do that, let's do it ourselves. So, where do we add the sprites from, Maya?
So if you look at the corner of the bottom, there's a picture of a cat there. So you press on the cat and then you get all the things.
Okay, so we want a rocket and a planet. Now there isn't any space shortcut here, but I know if we type the thing we want, let's see. What should we put first? Oh, okay. I was going to rocket. Should we go with rocket? We'll put a rocket on. So click on that. And there you can see Sprite. Now, Sprite is a thing that we're going to write some code against. And we've got our rocket, and it's automatically added it to our stage. A stage is the world that we're going to work on with these sprites. It's how we make them come alive. So we're going to put the rocket in the bottom left corner there.
Yeah.
And then we want to add another sprite, so that's going to be the same thing, isn't it? So we're going to go down to the little cats, and we're going to find Earth. Oh, look, there's Earth.
Yeah,
Earth.
Earth.
We're going to add Earth. We'll put Earth in the top right. Now we need to add a backdrop, because at the moment the rocket and planet Earth are just on a white background, which is rubbish.
Yeah, and space is black, not white. Only the stars are white. And I think that looks like stars have taken over space.
Oh no, stars have taken over space and taken all the black away. Okay, let's add a backdrop of space. So here we can go. I think we've got space. Oh, I can't spell space.
You did it wrong.
I did it wrong. Thank you. Cool. So there we have. We've got a backdrop and two sprites, and we've probably caught up with everyone else that remembered how to do that from last time.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're all there. And we've got two sprites and a backdrop. So what we need to do now, and this is a kind of a weird step, but trust me, we need to do it so that it looks a good animation. We just need to turn this rocket over, which means we need to change the way it looks. Do you remember how we changed the way it looks?
So we go to looks.
That is a good point. So I used a phrase. So actually, we're going to change the way that it's drawn. So we're going to go to costumes. But you're right, we would be able to manipulate the way it looks and animate it and the code side there. But we're going to go to this, not on Earth. So I had Earth selected when I clicked costumes, which meant that I saw the costume of Earth. I want the rocket selected. And now it goes back to costumes. So we're going to have to turn this on its side. If you look at the tutorial, it tells you to do that. It's just so that it looks a bit better when it flies to Earth, towards Earth later. So trust me, we need to do that. To turn that on its side, all you need to do is you need to drag the big box around the rocket and use these little handles at the bottom with arrows on them to rotate, and rotate it so it's about sideways like that.
Sorry, Chris, I think people are just catching up a second.
Okay, are we still adding sprites and backdrops? We'll wait there then. So that's all I'm going to do with that, and we're just going to turn that on its side, and you can sort of see the icon. So we'll have a little pause while we think of what next. So we're going to add some code to the sprite in a minute, and then I'm going to give you another chance to catch up. So we won't get too far ahead, but I will work a second. Do you have any good jokes about space?
What's the biggest net in the universe?
What's the biggest net in the universe? I don't know. Internet.
No, a planet.
A planet. It's good. Good work. Nice one. Right. Okay. So we'll crack on now, but I will give you time to catch up again. And again, we are going through the tutorial. So we've turned our sprite on its side. Our rocket is now on its side.
Sorry, Chris, could you just repeat how you turned the rocket on the side for a couple of people?
I can do that. So let's do it on this other, just to show you. I'll put it back where it was.
So
what do we do?
You go to costume.
We go to costume. So we select the rocket in the bottom right corner here. Go to costume so we can see the first rocket picture.
And then we click somewhere, and then
so we're dragging selection around the rocket.
And then
it's going to be more difficult on an iPad, I realise, but I'm sure you can cope.
The arrows at the bottom.
There's arrows at the bottom, and we just use those to turn it sideways. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter too much if you don't get it sideways. It might look a bit strange when it animates, and you can do that later. But that's how you turn it on its side. Okay. Now we're going to write some code.
Code.
Code. So what we need to do is start the code. And we're going to do that on the rocket. So again, you need the rocket selected in the bottom right corner. So you're writing code for the rocket.
And then you go to control.
We're going to go to events. So what we want is last time, if you did the band, rock band, it's called Rock Band, you started your code by either clicking on the sprites or pressing the space bar. I think you might have done that once. And that was the event we used to kick off our code. This time we're going to use the green flag. So above your stage in the top right corner, there's a green flag, and that starts the animations and starts the code that you've written. And we're going to say in the events on this for this code is that when someone clicks the green flag, then you're going to start doing your instructions. You're going to start the code. Yeah. So if you go into the left side under the code tab, which you may have open, or you might have the costumes tab, but click on the code tab there. Go down to the yellow circle, which is events. At the top of there, you've got
when green flag clicks.
When green flag clicks, and you just drop that anywhere in this white space here to start your coding.
But don't put it at the bottom, because then you can't click it together.
That's true. Down there. So put it so there's lots of space underneath to put your code. And now when we write code in Scratch, what we're going to do is we're going to plug different instructions.
Just like Lego pieces.
That's right. It is like Lego. Just like Lego, we're going to click those instructions together. So if you were with us last time, you'd have seen that too. And this is the code we're going to need to animate our rocket. So we're going to go to motion, and we're going to make it point towards the right direction. We're then going to move the rocket. We're going to make it say, let's go, and then we're going to make it move towards Earth.
And at the top it says move 10 steps, but we don't want it.
No, I'll show folks what we're going to do. So first we're going to point in direction 0. You need to add, it's about halfway down the motion blocks, and you're going to plug that one in, point in direction 0. This is again so it looks realistic as it flies towards the Earth. Don't worry too much. We're putting it in the right position, and then we want to move the sprite. So what we're doing at this point, I should mention, is we are resetting where the rocket is. I'll show you what's happened in a minute. So we click the flag, we're going to point the rocket in the right direction, and then we're going to move it to the right position, because as it animates, it moves around the stage. We want to put it back in the right place so that we can start from a clean position. Then we're going to make it say something. So if you want to make it say something, Well, actually, we're going to make it look like it says something. So we're going to go to looks, which is the purple set of blocks. And you think you've got say hello for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And instead we're going to change.
Hello, but the rocket can't say hello.
We're going to change hello. We're going to say let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Chris, could we just summarise for a couple of people? There's a couple of people that are a little bit behind.
Okay.
Summarise the bit of code you've just done. That's all right.
Yep, I will. I'll add these next 2 bits so it makes sense, and then I'll summarise what it is we've built. So I will let you catch up, and I will give you time to do this looking at the tutorial. So points after we've said let's go, we're going to point towards Earth, and then we're going to glide to a location. So I'm going to try and explain what's happening here. So this is the code we're aiming to build behind this rocket initially. So let's talk about what we've done. So this first section, when we click the green flag, I want you to point the rocket in that direction, direction 0. I'll try and explain more later, and move it to this position. This is to reset the rocket. So if I show you what's happening at the moment with this code I've written, I press green, I say let's go for 2 seconds, and it flies off to the middle of the screen. Now when I press green again, it needs to reset. So that's what that first bit does here. First bit the green arrow does, it put it back in the right position so we can start the animation again. So let me say let's go. At the moment it's moving into the middle of the screen, and this first bit of the code resets it back to where we start. Otherwise, the next time we run it, it'll just move it from the location it finished on, and we wanted to set it back. Okay. Then what we want the rocket to do, we wanted to say let's go to celebrate the fact they are taking off on the homeward journey to Earth.
Let's go!
Yep, preferably as loud as that. So that's why we've clicked in this block that we found on the look section, which was changing this one to say let's go, and it will do it for 2 seconds. We're then making the rocket point towards something else on the stage. So we've used this little drop down to say point towards Earth. So the rocket turns and points towards Earth. And then we're saying, okay, glide towards these coordinates. And I'm going to talk about coordinates in a minute. So we're resetting, we're saying let's go. And then we're pointing towards Earth and gliding towards this location. So that's what this code is going to do. And I'm going to give you some time to catch up. What I'm going to try to tell you about is coordinates. So some of you may have learned about coordinate systems at school. Maya, I don't think you have. So I'm going to try and explain why we've got these random numbers in here. If you're just happy copying the code and not worrying about what those numbers mean, then it's okay, don't worry too much, but let me try and explain. So the stage in this right side has a map underneath it, a map that helps us say where we want to put our sprites. So I should be able to draw something for you here. Let's see if I can do this. Ooh. So underneath this is a map, and it's broken into steps. Can you see that? Becky and Molly, am I drawing on the screen? Is that working?
It is indeed. I think we might need to summarise where we've got to, just to catch a couple of people up. I think we've got people still rotating the rocket and confused on the go to X, Y coordinate section.
Yeah, okay. I will just explain this then, and then we'll try and get those guys back on track. So a coordinate system. So the locations that we're seeing written in here, go to X and Y. So there's a map underneath this stage, and we can use it to tell our sprites where to go. And it's lines are little steps. So here, if there was something we wanted to go to there, we'd say 3 along and 3 up. That's how you get to there. And this direction is X, and this direction is Y. So when it says go to 3, 3, it would go to here. So it's 3 steps that way, 3 steps up, and that's where there. So the rocket knows to go to the right position by saying X is 3 and Y is 3, go to there. To make things extra complicated, I don't know why, well, I think I know why, is that Scratch's 0 point, where it starts, is in the middle. So this is 0, 0, 0x and 0y. This is actually minus 150, minus 150. And this is plus 150, plus 150. So that's why when we click them, oh, I can't do it like that. Stop doing that. When I click the go, it says go to minus 150 and it goes to here. And then glide to 0, 0 and it goes to the middle. Okay. If you're comfortable with this, see if you can make that code and glide towards the middle. And then see if you can change it to glide towards Earth. What would you have to put in those and that block at the end, which is x equals 0 and y equals 0? What would you have to put in that block to get it to glide all the way to the Earth? If you're comfortable, you crack on and do that, and then I'll come back to talk about this code. So, Molly, you mentioned that people were still in the costumes.
I think some people got stuck on the rotating of the rocket, and so now they're a little bit behind on what the code is and what it's doing.
Okay, so let's go back to the code. As people can crack on and work on that if they're able to. But we're going to talk again about, you're right, thinking. We're going to talk about the code we've written. So, as I said, while you were buried in rotating costumes, I'm sorry I didn't give enough time for that. We're writing code now to act upon our rocket sprite. And so we click the rocket sprite in the bottom left corner to select the rocket, and then we'll write code in here that will move the rocket. What we want to do is tell the rocket when to start doing something, which is an event that will happen. And we might click on the rocket, we might press spacebar, but what we're going to do this now is say when someone clicks the green flag above our stage, that's when we want the code to run. So we're going to go to events and take the when the green flag is clicked, and we're going to put that on there. And then we're just going to add code from the motion section of the code chooser on the left hand side. We're going to put point in direction 0. I wouldn't worry too much about why that is, it just looks better if you do. And then go to X and go to Y, which is this little code here. And we plug that in there. And when we've done that, we've edited those numbers from 0 to minus 150 or minus 150. And this is putting the rocket back into the bottom left corner of the stage. So it's in the right position to start when we start our animation. And then we want the rocket to say, let's go! Or, if you can say it, how loud was it?
Let's go!
Really quite loud. And then we've gone to looks, and at the top of the looks section, there's a say hello for 2 seconds. We drag that on. Let me take that away. Yeah. We drag that on, and we've renamed the word hello. We've selected that to type over the text, and we've said, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. So the rocket is now going to say that. We want the rocket then to fly towards the Earth. So in order to do that, we are going to point the rocket at the Earth, and I'm selecting this code block here from the motion collection. I'm clicking that on the end. I'm going to make the rocket point towards the Earth. And then I want it to move. So I've selected glide to X and Y coordinates. And I've gone glide in 1 second to X and Y coordinates 0. And left that as it is. If I click that, the rocket starts in the corner, says let's go, and then flies to the middle of the stage. So we've got people of various stages across this tutorial now. If you have succeeded in doing that and added on your rocket, then what you might want to do is see if you can change the speed the rocket flies, have a play around with the code to see if you can make it fly to the Earth quicker. Oh, sorry, see if you can make it fly to the Earth, because perhaps at the moment your rocket is only flying to the middle of the space and no good, you can't get home. So change something of that code, play around with it to see if you can get it to fly all the way to the Earth, and see if you can get it to fly quickest to the Earth. And I'll pause there for a little bit for people to catch up. But as I said, all this explained probably better than I'm doing, to be perfectly honest. It's explained in the tutorial that you can find in the Code Club. Thank you. In the Code Club lessons. And at the moment, we're at the bottom here with this code explained there. If you are interested in coordinate systems and explained in a way that is better than what I just did, then if you look at the next page of the tutorial, there's a little drop down here. I can't see it. We were on this page of the tutorial. And then we moved here. It says, hey, can you make it move towards Earth? Can you make it move towards more slowly or quickly towards Earth? And then here it tells you about coordinate systems. But you don't really need to know about that. I just thought I'd try and share it. If you've got time and you're waiting for other folks to catch up, then the secret of Scratch is you can just play around with it. You can add whatever you like. You can add some new code blocks, see what they do. It's all about exploring the different instructions you can give to your little sprites and what happens when you change the numbers in there. You can use the green flag to give it a try and test it out and then reset things again. So if you're waiting for us, do have a play around and add whatever you like. I'm going to give people another minute or so to catch up to where we are right now. What else do we know about space? Which is the closest star to Earth? It's quite a tricky one. Closest star to Earth. Everyone at home know? It is the sun. That's right. It was a trick question. It is the sun because the sun's a star. It's not Andromeda or something like that. No. Good work. Okay. Right. I think we're going to move along a little bit. So hopefully you've managed to get things. I'm going to clear that annotation because I'm not sure that helped everyone. Clear all my drawings. There we go. We're going to add some more code now. So now we're going to animate Rocket using a slightly different approach. So at the moment we've got glide in there. Glide is the instruction that we're giving our rocket to move it across the stage to the Earth. Although mine's not going to the Earth, is it? What should we do? What do you think we should change this to?
100.
150. Brilliant. 150. So now hopefully the rocket will go, let's go, and it will move. Zoom. Oh, that's fast, isn't it?
That's
very fast. It's a bit too fast. Maybe we should change that.
And it doesn't go to Earth, it just goes.
Look at that. If I change the glide to a bigger number, that's better, isn't it? I wish it wasn't flying behind, and I'll worry about that later. Maybe if we do that, that will work. Okay. But we're not going to use glide. We're going to practice our coding skills, and we're going to find a different way to move the our rocket across to the Earth. We're going to use something called a repeat block. So this is a really important feature that we use when we're coding is loops and repeaters. So instead of using glide, we're going to put that over there. We don't want to glide. Instead of using one long move, what else could we do?
We could.
What else could we do, folks? Use lots of little moves, couldn't we?
Yeah. We
can do lots of little moves. So what we could do is say, hey, rather than move like that many steps all the way over there using glide, let's move 10 steps. Let's move 10 more steps. Let's move 10 more steps. Let's move 10 more steps. So we could do that and just keep adding those. I mean, that'd be pretty silly. We could. And that we get quite tired of doing that. We're not going to do that because that would take a long time. Yeah. So we're going to use something called a repeater, a loop.
That would take all day.
It would take all day. So if we go to our control set of code, and in there's a repeat loop, which is the second one from the top. It says repeat 10 at the moment. Repeat. We're going to drag that and we're going to click that together like Lego. And then we're going to make it move a little bit within that loop. So I'm going to go back to the motion code block and I'm going to select move.
And then
I'm going to put 2 steps. So these steps, these little steps along that map I talked about. So I'm going to move 2 steps along that map that's behind our stage, those coordinates. So let's see what happens when I move 2 times, but I'm going to repeat it. So that loop is going to say I'm going to move it twice, and then I'm going to go back around, and I'm going to do it again, and then I'm going to go around, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to go around, and I'm going to get it.
But then how will we get back?
Or we'll reset it. So we're going to repeat that move 10 times. Let's see what happens. So this is testing. We're going to click. Let's go. Oh, didn't go very far, did it? So we're going to increase that repeat. And we're going to say repeat that 200 times. So what we replaced is replaced glide with this loop, which loops around and moves 2 steps, but 200 times. Again.
That will take forever, Daddy.
Well, let's see, because the computers can do it really fast. 200 times on a computer should be okay. Let's see. Wow, there it goes.
That's not right.
I'm not sure where it's going behind. I'll work that out later. So so there we are. 200 times we moved that 2 steps, and that does the same animation as the glide. It will move all the way to the corner. So while we're there, and I will give a pause for you guys to replace your glide with a repeat step. While we're there, we can do other things. While we're going around that loop, we can do some other things and fun things to our sprite. So if we go to looks, and there is a block towards the bottom that says change color effect by 25. It's this one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pop that inside the loop.
Pop it inside.
Which means that, as well as this move, is going to get done 200 times. So let's see what that does. Change color effect by 25. I don't really know what that means, so I'm going to test it. And that's going to get done 200 times. Let's see. Click in the green. Let's go. Wow! That is cool! And it hides behind the earth.
That's not cool.
That's not so cool. That's not so cool. Okay. So I'm going to pause here and see if you folks can, you coders out there, can replace your glide, if you got that far, with a repeat block, with a loop. Okay, we'll keep quiet and you can crack on and do that. Keep on. I haven't got much to do now. What else do you want to do here? Okay, we won't move on quite yet, but maybe some of you already got that repeat in there. So if you have got the repeat in there, why not try to see if you can get your rocket to get smaller as it moves towards the Earth. So if you're waiting for us to catch up, why not see if you can change your loop so that you make the rocket a bit smaller, so it's going into the distance, so it looks a bit smaller to us from here. So see if you can get that change in there. We're waiting for everyone to finish that step with the repeat loop.
Are we going to do that?
Yeah, we can do that too. Okay, we're going to do that too. We'll put people off here. So, how do you think we do it? Well, I'm going to change the looks.
Go to looks.
I'll just mute so we don't put people off if they're trying to concentrate.
Whoa.
So I don't know how people are doing with their setting the size of the spaceship, but we are breaking our spaceship. It was massive, wasn't it? And then it was tiny weeny. Look what happens now. Oh dear. That looked quite good. I don't know what you're laughing at. So what we've done to make it get smaller is we've added this change size by. This is an optional step if you guys are still catching up, and don't worry about adding this one, but if you're waiting then you can add a change size by. So we've added change size by, we set it to -1, but it's already small. So now when we start you can't really see it. So what should we do?
Restart?
We'll reset the size. So there's also a change set size to 100. Now in this block that we said we're adding to set the rocket in the right position and set the rocket in the right direction, we're going to set the size to the right size as well. So now when we click the green, it's back to the right size. That's good. And maybe -1 is a bit small. So I'm going to suggest we do -0.2. Do you know about decimal numbers? No, it doesn't matter. We'll just try that and we'll see what that looks like. Getting smaller. That's a bit too tricky. This is called debugging. Okay.
Let's go.
So we've got our rocket moving with a loop across the stage. I'll do. Oh, it's hiding. Changing colour with colour effect and getting slightly smaller as it gets near the Earth. So we're there. If you've got some of the way there and you've got the rocket moving at least, or you've got it changing colour, but you haven't done this to get smaller, don't worry, you can come back and do that later. We're going to move on though. So now we're going to the monkey, the star of the show, who was lost in space. So again, we're going to go back to our friends, the sprites, and we're going to add a monkey sprite. Do you remember how to do that, Maya?
Monkey.
Yeah, monkey. We're going to choose a sprite.
Monkey.
Okay, you're in charge.
Monkey.
And we're going to go to
monkey.
What kind of a thing is a monkey?
That's a monkey.
No, I mean kind of.
Oh.
It's an animal.
Ah.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
I can't see it. So we're going to type into the box monkey.
Monkey.
There he is.
Monkey.
I'm going to double click him. And then we've got our new sprite.
But why has he not got a helmet? He can't breathe.
That's a really good point. He hasn't got a helmet. He's not a space monkey. So now we have to do some more work with the costumes. And I know this was confusing last time. So this is an optional step. Don't worry if you can't change the way that the costume looks on the monkey. This is just to make it look more like it's in space.
It can be a space monkey.
So it can be a space. It could breathe, not need air. So, but this one needs air, so we're going to put a helmet on it. But that will practice our costumes that we did earlier. So
I've got the space helmet.
you have. You could do that. Nice. So we're going to click on our monkey sprite, and because we want to change the way that it's drawn, we're going to click on costumes. And
then paint his face green.
We're not going to paint his face green. What we're going to do is we're going to add an oval round him to make it look like a space helmet. So, yeah, in a minute I'm just going to help you with the colour. So we need to change the colour and the fill. We don't want to fill. We don't want to fill in this shape. We want it to be see-through so we can see the monkey's face. So we're going to go to this fill section, and we're going to click this arrow, this line at the bottom corner, which means no fill. I know that's not super clear, but it does. So if you click that one, it means I don't want you to fill anything here. Don't fill it.
No.
And then don't fill it. Don't fill it. And we're going to want a white line. So we are going to actually just come into this outline, which is the outline of the shape. And we're going to move the slider over there. And then this is the colour we'll be drawing, which is white. Okay. And we're going to select the circle, which I should have done already. Okay, can you draw an oval around the monkey's head? It's this. It's the left mouse button. Go to here. Yep, there you go. Cool. I'm just going to can you move it? Okay. So now, oops. Let's do that again. It's my fault, not yours. That's cool. So we've got a very big helmet for our monkey. And that will have changed how it looks. Oh, look, on the stage, you can see our monkey has a really big space helmet on. Again, if you can't work out how to add that helmet to it, don't worry too much. We're not learning too much here other than how to play with a bitmap editor. We're going to do some animation now and write some code. So you've got your monkey onto the stage. So again, we want to do something with the monkey when we click the green flag. So that's we're going to make it turn and spin because it's in outer space. But mine has fallen off a chair. But we want to start the code. We want to start writing some code. So what do we do with the other ones, Maya? What do we do with the other ones? When the other sprites, we wanted something to start, we used an event. And which one was it?
Events.
Events, but what kind of thing were we waiting for?
Events.
What were we waiting to be clicked on?
The green flag.
Green flag. So that's the first
when green flag clicked.
When green flag clicked. So
when
we've got our monkey selected.
Clicked.
We've added when green flag clicked.
I just said when green flag kicked.
When it's clicked, we want him to tumble in outer space because he's lost. And we want it to do it forever. We want to repeat and repeat forever. So what kind of thing have we learnt about that we should use for something that keeps going? You don't know. We want to do a loop, which is something we tried before. Last time we had repeat in there. Repeat 10 times. We don't want to repeat the spin 10 times. We want to repeat it forever. But fortunately, there is a control for that. Good controls, not events, by the way. Sorry. We've selected forever. We've clicked that onto that event. And whatever we put inside this code block is going to go forever. So,
Chris, we've got a couple of people that are still trying to put the
helmet on the monkey?
I was trying to think of the word. I could not think of the word. Oh, the helmet on the monkey. But they can't find the sprite when they click costumes. And I'm just wondering if what they need to be doing is when they're in the code screen, clicking the monkey sprite before going into costumes. I don't know whether that will make a difference for people, but there's a couple of people that have got that question.
Yeah, that would be it. So if you've managed to add the monkey sprite, so don't forget this is a new sprite we need to add. So you need to go into choose the sprite section at the bottom right corner of the screen and find the monkey and add it to your stage. So you should be able to see it on the stage. If you can see it on the stage, yep, you just need to click on the monkey in that section at the bottom right. I don't know what that's called. And then if you go to costumes, what you should see in there is the monkey. Is actually 3 different costumes. So we're just going to edit the first costume. But as I said, if you've not managed to do that step yet, don't worry too much about it. I think the important thing is we try some of the code and you can come back and make that monkey look like whatever you want later on and play around with the project. But you will need the monkey clicked in order to add code that acts on the monkey and moves the monkey around. Okay, so we're clicking the monkey so we can see this code, and we've got down there that when the green flag is clicked, we're going to sing all the code now. When it's clicked forever, we're going to make the monkey spin. So let's turn the monkey We've gone to motion.
Forever.
We've gone to motion code, and we've selected turn, and we've left that in there.
Forever.
And now we're going to test to see what happens to our poor monkey now who's lost in space. Whoa!
Oh, that's too fun.
That is going to be a poorly monkey. So we're going to have to change that. So we're going to make it turn a bit more slowly, like it's floating in space. So what number do you think we should try? Turning 15 degrees?
Turn 10.
We'll try 10. So I'll click 10 in there, turn 10 degrees, I'm going to click the green flag and see what happens. Still a bit fast. I think we have to take... Let's try one. Good idea. Ah, that's like a space monkey floating. Excellent. He is just floating in space, looking quite lost. Okay, so I'm going to pause again so that you coders back at home can finish off the code for your floating monkey. Decide on a speed you'd like your monkey to spin on, and then we'll pick it up, and we've got 10 minutes to add one more sprite before we'll call it a day. So, and finish the lesson today. But I'll wait a second so you've finished that spinning monkey. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
I think somebody on there asked how do we make the rocket smaller. The rocket smaller was we added this change size by piece of code inside the loop for the rocket. Made it go minus 0.3 smaller as it moved. So that's how we did it. Come on, wake up.
You wake up.
So I think we're still waiting for people. I want to share my exciting space fact with everyone that I learned recently. If you're waiting for it. So although the moon looks really close to Earth, right? You look out the window at night, you see the moon. Space is so huge that distance is a really long way. It's so big that we learned, didn't we, this week?
Yeah.
That you can fit
the planets between them.
Yeah, between us and the moon, between Earth and Moon, you can fit in every planet in the solar system next to each other, like this picture. Isn't that amazing? So when you look at the moon, it's that far away that you can fit all the planets between us and there. I thought that was amazing. I thought it was amazing. I thought I'd share that with you while we're waiting. Okay. We're going to move on. As I said, we're going through the tutorial. You can follow this back at your own pace. It probably explains it better than I did anyway, but we'll crack on. So we've got our floating monkey, and the last thing we're going to do in this lesson is the next stage of the tutorial, which is add a bouncing asteroid. Wow! So let me show you quickly how to do that. Sound effects are optional. So we're going to add a rock. We know how to add a rock sprite now. We know how to add sprites all the time. So we go to click add sprite. Okay. What's that rock? Rock. And then we've got a rock now sprite on our stage. And now we want to add some code so the sprite, the new rock bounces around the stage like an out of control asteroid.
Whoa.
Okay. So how are we going to do that? Okay, so what we do is when the flag is clicked again, we want the sprite to move and bounce around the stage forever. Come on. So then we got the rocks. So what we want to do the when the flag is clicked again. Do you remember where that is? When the flag is clicked?
Yes, in event.
In events. When the flag is clicked again, we've clicked the rocks. So we're doing the writing the code for those rocks. We want to do something forever.
Forever. When the flag's clicked. Forever.
You were shy at the start, but now it stopped, isn't it? You've got used to this. Forever, we want it to move around. We want the rocket to move around.
Forever.
So we've gone back to our motions and we said, move. Okay. Move 2 steps, and then there's this really cool piece of code at the bottom of the motion that says if, when it's moving 2 steps, if it moves 2 steps and hits the edge of the stage, bounce. So we're going to pop that inside as well. And so it looks a bit more interesting. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to slip this between the green flag and the forever loop, is we're going to point the rock towards the earth, which means it'll look a bit more interesting when it bounces around. So again, we've added a rock with the sprites. We've said when the green flag is clicked, point towards the earth. And then again, loop forever, move 2 steps. And if you hit an edge of the stage, bounce off. Let's see what happens. Here it goes. Whoa! Look at our rock. It's just bouncing around. Oh, careful, monkey. Oh. It's bouncing around the stage. That's what we've got now.
That's so humongous.
It is humongous.
And it's baseball helmet.
Okay. So we'll wait a couple of minutes for people to add their rock, and then we'll wrap things up. If you have any questions, do ask Becky and Molly, and we'll try and
I'm really busy. I've been watching the monkey for hours.
I know. He is getting really dizzy. And there's the rock, flying around, bouncing off. And here's the code that you need to write. So we'll stay quiet for a minute while you catch up. I've muted myself so you can all get on with that. It's nattering at you, but I'm unmuted now. So people are asking on the chat window, can I change it so the rocks smash into the earth? You can do what you want now. So that's the joy of Scratch. You can try some different bits of code.
Can we do that?
We can do that after the lesson's finished. We can play around with that. We can make the rock go faster. We can make it spin. We can make it destroy the earth if you must, but it's too much, isn't it? We can do loads of things.
I want to make it destroy the monkey.
Okay, we'll make it destroy the monkey. Oh, poor monkey. So we're going to wrap things up now. So hopefully you've got to that point. Hopefully you've written some animating objects. You've done a really awesome job learning how to code, learning about loops, learning how to animate. You're really experts now on adding sprites, and you've got some costumes you can change as well. So a really great job, guys. The tutorial, as I said, is online. I've said many times, I know. And what you can do now, after
it 1,000 times.
Yeah, after this kind of video finishes, after this webinar finishes. Okay. After this webinar finishes, you can try and add one final step if you'd like. And if you click on the bottom of the to the next stage of the tutorial. If you've been following it with the browser,
Just do the shining star.
you can do the shining star. So there's
I don't want to.
there's something for you to try on your own, and there's some hints in here about how to do it. So maybe what you want a shining star that when you click the flag, when you click the flag,
shining star font.
okay, right, thank you. We're tired now. You can make the stars expand a bit and then get smaller, and you can put that in a loop again. You can go and try that if you'd like. But that is all we've got time for. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. I kind of want to thank again.
Me.
I want to thank Maya. Of course, I want to thank Maya. Of course, I want to thank Molly and Becky for answering all your questions, and I hope you guys were able to keep up with us and get what you needed out of this. I also really want to thank the Code Club for providing all these great resources for us to work through, and you can go and look at those yourself. If you've got the coding bug now, keep playing with that project you've just created.
What coding bug?
Not a coding bug, like you want to do. Good point. You really like coding now. Don't do any bugs. Instead, keep practicing coding. We'll be here next week. So next week we're going to do another project for you at the same time, sort of 2 o'clock, I believe. It might be ghost busting. That would be exciting.
Ghost busting.
Yep. And that's all we've got. So at the end of this webinar, when I close it, hopefully you'll get asked for your opinion and to get an opportunity to give us some feedback on how this went. It is really valuable to us. We're not, experts at running online coding demos, so we would happily listen to any input you've got of how we can make this better, what really works, and then we can use that input next time, so we make next time's lesson even better. So thanks for your time. Keep coding, and have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Bye.